Hello, my name is Sally and I am one of the makeup artists working with Look Fabulous Forever, which is skincare and makeup for the more mature skin. So I am 59 and I am going to show you today top tips on how to apply makeup to a more mature face. A perfect look, hopefully, for anyone who is 50 and over. I think never ever give up on makeup. For me, I love makeup, I've always loved it. And I just think it's really important to potentially use appropriate makeup as you get older and maybe slightly differently apply it. It can make so much difference to give colour back to your face. As we age, we lose definition, we lose colour in our eyes, in our skin, in our lips, and everything can sometimes look a little bit sort of, well, I certainly do look very one colour with no makeup. So it's really nice to be able to just give back that little bit of definition and give back that bit of colour to a more mature face. It can make a big difference in the way you look overall with your clothes and your hair. As we age, obviously we get fine lines, we get wrinkles. I call them lifelines. I'd rather have them than not have them. We get sunspots and pigmentation, and my skin is definitely a lot drier than it was. I used to be a very combination skin when I was younger. So things do change, but there's absolutely no reason why you can't enjoy wearing makeup as much as you did when you were younger. For me, I don't want to look younger. I just want to look the best that I can for the age that I am, to make me feel confident and not to worry about it once I've put it on, just to get on with my day. First thing I want to talk to you about is skincare. Skincare makes a big difference, and I am a great believer in regularly cleansing morning and night. And today I have already used my cleanser. I have used my SPF 50 plus serum to protect my skin, because that's really important as we age. I've used my Hydration Hold serum and my Smooth Face Day Cream. So I put on my moisturiser. And it's important to let that settle before you go into makeup application. So I tend to do that, then brush my teeth, get dressed, do other things, maybe have breakfast before doing my makeup, just to let the skincare settle. So let's get going, and hopefully I'll give you a few tips so that you can really enjoy using makeup whatever age you are. Okay, the first product that I'm going to use is something called Smooth Like Silk Face Prime. And as we get older, our skin becomes a little bit more like blotting paper. So often if you put on a foundation or a tinted moisturiser, it can go a little bit patchy. So this product is amazing. So I'm just going to take a couple of pumps of it. It's clear, fragrance free, but when you put it on, it does just as it says. It smooths out and your skin feels like silk, like velvet. It fills in any open pores that you have and sort of blurs any fine lines. What I'm going to do now is to use a beautiful product called Continuous Cover Foundation. Again, as we get older, you don't want to use something that is cakey. You don't want to feel like you're wearing a mask, but foundation should just even out the skin tone and create a canvas on which you're then going to paint the picture. So I'm using shade 2.5 because it's just the end of the summer and I've got a little bit more colour. I've taken it onto my hand. What I like to do is also add an extra pump, a little bit of my primer that I've already put on to go with it. I just find that works really, really well when I put the two together. So I'm going to use my foundation brush number 10 to just take it up on my brush and apply. So the beauty of a brush is that you can apply it really evenly, and I take a bit at a time so that I can build it up rather than putting loads of it on to start with. You don't need a lot of product, and then you can just really, really buff it in well. with the brush, sort of stipple around the eye area. And that just gives, hopefully, it should still look like me. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing a mask, but it's just evened everything out. The next step is to just help with that little bit of extra evening out by using concealer. Now I am going to use the beautiful concealer in shade 02. So that's called Cover to Cover Concealer, and it's got tea tree in it and it's really creamy. I'm going to use concealer brush number 4 and just take a little bit up, and I'm going to apply it in various places. As we get older, we often get quite a lot of darkness in this area. So I'm going to add a little bit of my concealer to the corners of my eyes where it's very bluey, and that will instantly make me look more awake. Wow. You don't need a lot. Because it's creamy, it will just melt into your skin and into the foundation. And then what I do is take my ring finger, because that's the finger that you can't apply too much pressure around the eye with the ring finger. So you want to be gentle around that eye area because it's so much thinner than everywhere else. And I've got a few broken capillaries around the nose area. So that little bit of extra help with concealer. Okay, I think we have just about prepared the skin. So what I'd like to do now is to set it. A lot of ladies are worried about using powder because of fine lines, and it is a concern. So it's really important to use a powder that is extremely fine, finely milled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of the translucent. So this is colourless and extremely fine, like a silk powder. And I'm going to, where I have concealed under the eyes, I'm actually going to use this brush, which is brush number 7, just to basically set that area. If you have concealed any larger areas of pigmentation, I would also just put a little bit of extra powder on there. Otherwise, take the big fat powder brush number 1 and just sweep a tiny amount. You don't need much again. Okay, so we've put the face prime on and we have done our foundation. I'm going to show you 2 more primers that are really good for mature skin. The first one is Smooth Out Eye Prime. So you notice I didn't put foundation on my eyelids. I put a tiny bit just up here, but I'm going to put the eye primer on my eyelids because as we get older, you can see we've got sort of little fine lines, and we've also got discoloration, and I can see my little blood vessels coming through, which I couldn't when I was younger. So I want to get rid of those so that when I put my eyeshadow on, it will go on as a true colour. And also the beauty of this product is it will smooth out my eyelids and keep my eyeshadow on all day and stop it from creasing. So you don't need much, tiny amount, tiny amount. I tend to put it on with the concealer brush. There's only one colour. So the secret to this is to make sure that your eyelids are dry and oil free when you put it on. It's a very clever product. Again, it's got coconut oil in it, so it's really hydrating as well. Okay, so we've done our eye prime. And while we're on primers, as we get older, you can see I've got quite a few lines, probably from doing this. So I've got little fine lines around my lips. So I'm going to use a product called Never Feather Lip Prime. And I do this now just because it's nice to let it dry. So if I do it now, I don't forget. And I've got time then for it to dry before I put my lipstick on. So the secret to this is to apply it actually on the outer edge of your lips. And what that does is it creates a sort of barrier so that your lipstick does not slide up and go into the little lines that you have. Brilliant, very clever. If you've got no eyebrows, then you might want to do your eyebrows first. Because I have got some eyebrows, I tend to do them afterwards. But again, there's no wrong or right way to do that. But if you haven't got any, then we have a wonderful product, which I will show you later, called Bring Back Brow Shape, which will allow you to actually paint in your eyebrows. So if you haven't got any at all, you can paint them in, so then you know where to put your eye makeup. I am going to use today a palette, a trio of no shimmer eye shades called the Pink Neutrals. So these colours. I'm wearing pink today, but it's a sort of a warm pink. And these are good for sort of warm or cooler colouring. So the first colour I'm going to use is called Caramel Pink. And I'm going to take, again, my eyeshadow brush number 7. It makes such a difference using brushes, whatever age you are, rather than sponge applicators. So I'm taking the lightest colour, which is this one, Caramel Pink, and I'm just going to put a wash of this all over my eyelid. What to remember about colours is that light colours bring forward and dark colours push back. So if you want something to be highlighted, you use a lighter colour and it will have the effect of bringing it further forward. If you want it to be sort of pushed back and disguised, you would use a darker colour to recede it. So the second colour that I'm going to use is called Dusky Pink, and it's the middle one, this one. And I'm going to use a smaller brush. This is our eyeshadow brush, but it's number 9. The other one was number 7. And what I'm going to do is to put it in my socket line, a little bit higher than my socket line. Now you can either do this freestyle, or some ladies like to hold a cotton pad up just to kind of get the shape here. The other thing you can do, if it helps you and you've got some eyelash curlers, is you can just hold your eyelash curlers up. So whatever works for you to try and create, so you want it not to be dead straight, not to be too curvy, just a slight curve here. So let's go for this way this time. You can see it's just above, and I'm going to bring it down. It's a really pretty soft pink. Quite useful to have sort of a template. So what I'm going to do now is to take my first brush and just blend that in very slightly, and I'm going out to in. So by putting it a little bit higher than my crease, it sort of creates a slightly higher socket line, which gives the appearance of my eyes being a little bit more lifted up. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to be really bold and use a tiny amount of the third colour, which is called Deep Mauve, this one. So I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of this on that outer corner. Just here and here. As you get older, I would probably veer away from black eyeliner, unless you've got really, really dark eyes, dark hair. It can look a little bit harsh on an older skin. So I am going to use a really lovely soft eyeliner in soft grey. So these eyeliners they're retractable. And I'm going to put it on the top of both of my lashes. So I like to start at the outside and think to myself I'm drawing on the lashes. And if you can see, I've made it slightly higher here just to lift the eye rather than dragging it down. Because again, as we get older, our eyes tend to come a little bit downward, everything drops. So with eyeliner, if you lift it, I tend to start at the last lash and go slightly upwards, making a slight wedge here. And then little short strokes and start again on the outside, slightly upwards As we get older, our lashes fade, they drop out more, you don't have such thick lashes, and so therefore by putting a little bit of eyeliner on the top, it gives the effect of having thicker lashes. It can make a real difference, particularly if your lashes are quite fair, like mine are. Now this doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to soften it again. So what I'm going to do now, top tip when you have got more mature eyes, is to have that slightly smudgy eyeliner look, so everything looks a little bit softer. So what I'm going to use is, again, another one of the no shimmer shades, and this is in charcoal, so it's grey again. And I'm going to take a wedge brush number 8. This is a brilliant brush for doing this. I'm going to take a little bit of the charcoal onto the brush, and then I'm just going to take the edges off by just doing that. And then I am going to go over the eyeliner with the grey. And if you don't want to use eyeliner, the eyeliner pencil, you can just do this instead. So just softens it, and because it's a powder, it sets it so it doesn't move. What I'm going to do now is I am going to use some mascara. This makes a big difference to my eyes. And if you've got some eyelash curlers and want to try eyelash curling, that can also open up a more hooded or mature eye. So I'm going to curl my lashes and hold it for a few seconds. I'm blinking down as I'm moving the curlers upwards. Okay, that's already opened them up a little bit. I'm going to use Lithe Lash Mascara in black waterproof. I like the waterproof one because I do sometimes get watery eyes. I get a little bit of hay fever, and for me this just stops it from budging. And I like to wiggle it through the base of the lashes and slightly blink onto it. So I'm going to now do a little bit with my brows. First product I'm going to use though is something called Instant Bright Highlight. I love this product. Again, as we get older, you lose a little bit of luminosity in your face. So this can put it back. It's a little clicky pen, but I'm doing it now because I like to use a little bit just under my eyebrows. I like to take my concealer brush and just blend that very slightly in. And you can see it just has brought forward that area so that when I do my brows, they'll be a little bit more defined. So while I've got it, I like to then put a little bit just on my cheekbone, dot it on in a sort of C shape. Take my finger and just pat it in. This can be really flattering on an older face because it means that when you turn to the light, you've got that little bit of highlight, which means that your cheekbones look better, your face just looks a little bit more alive, a little bit more dewy, but without looking ridiculous and shiny. I'm going to now put some little bit of colour back into my brows. And again, you might have done this before you've done your eyes, but I'm going to do it at this stage. I'm going to use the spoolie brush, number 6, just to groom my brows first. Brows can completely alter the way a more mature face looks. We do lose brows. I don't know where they go, but certainly this one I've lost a little bit on the end, and on here I've got a few gaps. So bring back brow shape, which I mentioned earlier, this product. It comes in brown, grey, and it comes in blonde. I'm going to use the blonde one today. Shake it. It's got a little paintbrush. So it is actually a waterproof paint, which is amazing because it means you can just literally paint in any missing area that you have, individual hairs. And it's very, very natural, so I'm doing it sort of upward here because that's the way they grow. Secret to this product is to go back again with the spoolie brush after you have applied it and brush it through, which will then soften it and make it look just like it is your own brows. So I need a little bit of colour on my face now. I've done my eyes. I'm going to use this one, which is called Peach Cream, which is really nice. Blusher can make such a difference because, again, as we get older, as I said earlier, you sort of lose a bit of colour in your face, and blusher just means that you look like you've been for a nice healthy walk. The blusher that I'm using is a cream one, but it's a cream that turns into a slight powder, so it has the benefit of both. Sometimes cream ones can just sink into the skin, and sometimes powder blusher can just sit on. So this is really nice. So I like to apply it with my finger. As we get older, everything drops. So you don't want your blusher to be too low because that will also droop the face. So if you smile, slightly sort of in the middle of your eye and slightly out and a fraction higher and bring it up. I kind of think of it as a bit of a teardrop shape, just underneath where I put the Instant Bright highlighter. And then what I do is take the blusher brush, which is this size, not a really big one. This is our blusher brush number 2. And holding it at the bristles, I like to just sweep in a slightly circular motion, just to give, it's just a really pretty colour. And now we're ready to do lips, to create the balance that we are trying to achieve with makeup. Okay, the first product I'm going to use is a defining lip liner. If you're going to use a lip liner, I think it's nice to use one not just to outline your lips, but to fill in. And these are really soft, like the eyeliners. So this shade is called Roseberry. I'm not going right in that corner area because that can look a little bit cloggy if you go too far in. So to about there, I'm slightly lifting it to look as though I'm smiling more. And then underneath, just so that's the outline, and now I'm going to fill it in. So that if my lipstick does come off, then I will still be left with a nice little bit of colour all over, not just a line. The lipstick I'm going to use today is called True Rose. So it's a really pretty colour. It's this one. And when you are more mature, I personally think it's nicer to not go totally matte with your lipstick. I like to have a tiny bit of sheen, and these are lovely because they've got a little bit of sheen to them. So you can either apply it directly with the bullet, or you can use a lip brush. So I'm going to use lip brush number 5. What I'm going to do now, just to finish off that look, which I really like for a more mature skin, is a little bit of gloss. As I said, as lips get thinner, if you put a tiny bit of gloss in the, not necessarily all over, but in the middle of the top and bottom, where the thickest part is, it will reflect away light, so your lips will look a little bit thicker and just really nice. So I'm going to use Gorgeous Gloss Lip Shine in Cinnamon Kiss. So I'm just going to put. So there we have the finished look. Hopefully still a natural look, which is what I wanted to achieve. But just a slightly better and brighter and slightly more colourful version of me to restore the colour that I've lost. And just make me feel a little bit more confident so that my hair, my clothes, my makeup all work together. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have gained a few tips from today's video. If you've got any comments or any questions, we would love to hear from you. And I really look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.